ということで、皆さんこんばんは、りこんち始まりました。イエーイ。はい、ということで、音が鳴ってないけれども、これはきっとゲームがまだ無音であるということで現在の時刻入力してください。8時ですよ。8時1分になっちまったよ。8時1分にしとくか。8時1分になっちまったから。初めてやるんですよ。まあ、どんなゲームですかっていうところあると思うんですけれども、見て。これほら、パソコン画面と連動しててさ、なんていうの、こうさ、一生続く鏡状態みたいな感じにもなってるんですけど、はい。これね、ちょっとね、ほんとね、ちょっと気になってたゲームなんですよ、私。説明がちょっとね、難しすぎるので、難しすぎることないですけど、私の説明語彙力じゃちょっと難しいので、もうとにかくやってる姿を見てください。はい、という形で終わります。ツイッターで始まりましたーつって宣伝してるんで、よかったら拡散よろしくお願いいたします。そして高評価、チャンネル登録、ツイッチってよろしくお願いいたします。ということで、じゃあゲームを始めていきましょう。
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number
まだかな？まだ音鳴らないのかしら。
Employee number
従業員番号
427's
427の仕事は至って単純。
He sat at his desk in
427
room
番の部屋でデスクに
427,
向
and
か
he
いキ
pushed
ーボードのボ
buttons
タンを
on
押
the
すだけ
keyboard.
です。
Orders came to him
指
through a
令は
monitor
机の
on
モ
the
ニター
desk,
を通して
telling
ました。
him
どの
what
ボタンを
buttons
ど
to
れくらい長
push,
さを設
how
定
long
し
to
て
push them, and in
考
what
えなくてもいいじゃん。言われ
This
た
is
通
what
りにやるだけで
employee
すか？
427 did every
楽
day,
ですわ。
every month of every year. And although others
他
might
の
have
人たちに
considered
とっ
it
ては
soul-winning,
楽しい
Stanley
ことが
relished
しか
every
しスタンリー
moment
は
that
指
the
令が入ると
orders
楽しんで
came
ました。
in, as though he had been made
スタンリーは
exactly
好き
for
なんだ
this
ね、この仕
job.
事が。
And Stanley was happy. And then one day,
私
something
が
very
聞こえてないだ
peculiar
けか。
happened.
ちょっと接続不良か
Something
も
that
しれ
would
ない。
forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his
1
desk
時
for
間
nearly
近
an
くデ
hour
スクに向かっ
when
て
he
いたのに
realized that not
モニターから
one
一つも指令
single
が
order
来てな
had
いことに
arrived
気
on the
がつきま
monitor
し
for
た。
him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
ほうほうほう。あ、で、ここから始まるんですね。おー、来た。もう私はあれですよ。今日はね、こう、酔い止めをしっかり飲みましてですね、本当にね、あれです。画面からちゃんと距離を取って生きております。これどうやって操作の仕方が、ちょっと、マウスを押したらなんかカチカチ音がするんですが。動けないのこれ。あれか。来た。あれ？こうだ。D で前で、S で後ろ下がった。後ろ下がって、A で左、むずっ。Y で前、D で左。これだ！これで行くんだ。わかったぞ。で、これ、押せるものがね、何一つないんですよ、現状ね。ちょっと、意を決して私は前に出ようと思うんですが、ちょっと待ってよ。ちょっと画面と距離を取りたいんで、ごめんねみんな、ちょっと今すごい気持ち悪いことになっちゃった。よし、これでいくか。ごめん、ちょっと今環境を良くしようと。ちょっと待ってよ、これどうしようかな。この荷物をこっちにやって、よいしょ。よし、これでいいか。よし。じゃあこれでいきます。ごめんねみんな、ちょっと気持ち悪かったかな。はい、じゃあいきます。 かないですね、ここ。誰もいないんです
All
よ
of
ね。
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
同僚全員いなくな
Stanley
ってまった
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
会議室に向かうことにしました。だって会議室はどこやねんっていうことですが、会議室ってどこ？
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his
彼は
left.
左のドアに入りました。だってこれどうしようかな。ごめん、私は最初から無視します。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
はい。とりあえず進みましょう。いきなり選択と違う進み方しちゃいましたが大丈夫でしょうか。おお。
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
あ、このドリンクのここに見惚れるの？あ、違う。
Yes, really, really worth it being
どう
here
いう
in
こ
a
と？
room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
なんかよくわからんけど、もう私はもう飽きた
But
んで。
eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his
最初の
left.
左のドアに入りました。だってやっぱあそこ行かないかんのかしら。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't
あ
5
だ
years
から指
ago.
示したかなかった。もしかして私今この上乗ったらどうなるやろ。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
すいま
I
せん、さっきから無
realize
視
that
しまくっ
investing
て。
your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision
めっちゃ
by
咎めら
yourself.
れてる私。
I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
彼女のため？誰彼女って。
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself.
はい
To
はい。
put your work aside.
彼女、あなたの人生に取り戻して。何をさっきから言っていま
She's
す？
been waiting.
誰彼女って？彼女なんて言いましたっけ？暗い。びっくりした。
That's her, Stanley.
彼女から
You need to be the one to do this.
出た。427。
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
いや、びっくりした。
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see
あなたは
something.
誰？
Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
誰やったんやねん。おめえな。生きとんか。
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
42何プレス N on your keyboard N を押せばいいですか？はい。
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
K を押すの？で違うの押したら J を押したろ。あ、反応しない。K しか
Look
反
at
応
him
しない。
there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
G ね。
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
テレビ見るために Y を押してくださいだって。
And so he began to fantasize about his own job.
さっきまで
First,
ここ
he
にテレビあった
imagined
けど。
that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
少年たちと過ごすために R を押してくださいだって。どういうこと？何言ってんのかさっきから分かりませんけど R。
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
よくわからんだけど。
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
だってここから動けないんだけど。M ね。
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
寝るために P。
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
押さなければいいのかな。押さんとくかじゃあとりあえず。押しちゃいけませんよって言ってましたよね今。G とか押しとく？ F じゃなくて G 押したろか。あ、反応しない。 FE が反応しないってこと？なんか変わった。なんか変わったよ。こんなところにさなかったよね机。なんかこんな伸びてたっけ？朝から出勤するために F を押してください。でも押すなよって言ってたしね。これどうすんの？ほんとだ、白タイツの彼も消えてるわ。ずっと待ってんのこれ。どうしよう。なんかもう押したくなってきたけど、押したるか。
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
戻ったんだけど。
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
死んでください。
Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
終わり終わったんだけどじゃあ言う通りにしないとなんかこれあれですかなんかもうゲームオーバーになります的な感じ
All of his co-workers were gone.
また戻っちゃったよ
What
さ
did
っ
it
き
mean?
なんか
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
さ
simply
っきの
missed a
状況
memo.
と同じだけどね
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
あ違う場所に来た
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
上の階に
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
ここか
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
あなんかカーソルがんでここ
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
2845どこに打てばいいの
2845.
ちょっと待ってよどこの話後ろになんかあるってあ
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
えあえこっちエレベーターだあ、血浴さんナイスパですありがとうございますねなんかちょっと
Descending
怖い
deeper into the
感じ
building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
こうまっすぐ歩く押せばいっちゃう
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
えあこれですか
Now the monitors jumped to life,
Oh.
their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers, the lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen,
そうだったね。
and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job?
Oh.
That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
今もだいぶ操られてます
He
けど。
refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
お
But here was the
Oh,
proof,
戻ってきた。
the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
え、解体す、え解体って、電源ボタン、え、あれかな、え、なんだろう、え、こっち行くのかな、これ、え、え、こっち行けばいいのか。
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
オン押したいけどな。これオフ押した方がいいんでしょ、これ。オフ。どうしよう。またこれでなんかさ、振り出しに戻ってもなんか嫌やでな。ちょっとオフ押しとくか。わお
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
足を踏み入れましただって。いいの進んで。
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new
綺麗
path
な山
before
々
him.
や。
This was exactly the way right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley...
終わりもしかして。あ、また最初の声戻ったんだけど。早くないクリア。結構お金かけて買ったんだけどこれ。もう終わり？こういう楽しみ方で合ってんのこのゲーム。
All of his co-workers were gone.
また戻ったわ。
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
もっといろんなルート行きましょうだって。あ、へえ、そっかそっか。まあさっきのやつは最初から背向きすぎたからすぐ死んでくださいって言われて死んじゃったから。あ、ブッティさんナイスパです。ありがとうございます。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his
じゃあ
left.
とりあえず今全部言うこと聞きすぎちゃったからちょっと
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. ここ行けるのもしかして。わあ、すごいすごいすごい、行けた。Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom
逆に下へ行ったるか。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
ここ行けないか。おお、なんだこれ。
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, The truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley.
車のところはな
After all,
あれ
he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
また開きましたけど、進んでよろしいでしょうか。
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
真っ暗。
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of
人が
work.
見えた。
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through
主人公
town
じゃない。
talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
主人公発狂して死んじゃったのか。バッドエンド？始まった。すごいなこれ。めっちゃループじゃないですか。どうしよっかな。じゃあさっき右に行ってみて、あれしよっか。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
こことかも開けて開かないか。
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
ここは開かないのか。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
ちょっとこっち行こうかな次。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
ちょっと死んでくださいルートをちょっと避けたいですよね。
Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
そうだ、こん中入ると終わりなんだ。こん中入るとさっき終わったから。ここに、いいじゃん。ここ入ったら終わったから、こっち入ろう。
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
これ気になるな。お。
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
ダメだ。こっち行くしかない。
Oh no. It's to the right. I'm a
なんやクソさっきそっち行こうと思ったね。
No.
ちょっと
Not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
髪がカサカサ言おうと。
Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep. Okay.
ここじゃない
yes.
ここじゃない
I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
こっちかい。車こっちか。またここまたここ。
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay. From the top.
待って、おい終わりかい。ちょっと待って。さっきのさ、もう一個行きたい場所があったんです
All
よ
of
ね。
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be...
ドア開いてないけど。
Did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
どれから行けばいいでしょう、私は。もうこっちは行けないからだ。こっち？あれ？ここ行ったことあったっけ、ここ。何？
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here
なんか
before.
回ってるよ、ぐるぐる。
Do we need to restart the game again?
さっき私そっちの部屋に
I
いた
find
も
it
ん。
unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
いや、いい勝手に終わらされましたけど。ちょっともう、でも行きたい場所がとりあえずありました
All
ん
of
で、
his co-workers were gone.
気を取り直し
What
て、
could it
もう
mean?
一回そこ行こう。
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
ちょっと待ってねえ、ドアがないんだけど。
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this
ちょ、
wrong.
ドアがないん
It's
ですよ。
possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
どうすればいいのこれ。なんか見落としあります？ 行く途中かな。行く途中になんかあったかしらね。なにあ、上？いや特にないけどね。ちょっと戻ってみるか。
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes.
ちょっと何
No, wait.
Oh, because
Never
of-
mind. Not the story.
行き止まり
Let's head back the other way and retrace our
行きましょう
steps.
下を辿ってみよう。だって私どっから来た今。何こんなとこ通ったっけ？こんなとこ絶対通ってないから。
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all.
これだ、建
Is this
設
the
中。
story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have
ま
to
たリスタートする
restart.
の？リスタートするわ。なんか変わってんだけど。何これ？ザ。
All right, I've got a solution.
Stanley.
This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help
なるほどなる
of
ほ
the
ど。ちゃ
Stanley
んと
Parable
誘導してくれ
adventure
るんだですね。
line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
なんかこっちになってる。
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature
こ
of
こ
life
歩む
itself?
必要なくない？
Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
何この陽気な音楽。いやこれわけわからんラインの書き方やなこれ。楽しい音楽流せば別に何も変わらないんだけど。全然世界観と音楽とマッチしてないですけど大丈夫でしょうかこちら。遠回りしませんよ。もしかしら？ループはして
Cut the music. Go back and look at that
シダを
fern.
見よう。シダって何？シダって何？
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
また来たこっちに。
Oh, no, 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 not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
わあ。またこれ、ここの、何も喋らん。
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
お、開かない。
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be?
あれ
Go wild. Use your imagination.
ねえ、ちょっとこれ
Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
これずっとぐるぐる回ってますよね。始まった。
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
お、新しい場所。
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay. So I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
何これあなたは混乱エンドのためにプレイしてきた。18分経ってるってこと？
The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game eight times?
8回目の
That's
リス
really
ター
how
ト。
all this goes? It's all
ナレ
determined?
タがいなくなる。ついにスタンリー
So
が死ぬ。
now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of
ちょっとこれ
this?
どっち選んでも一緒やったやん。
No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped?
え
Does that
あ、止
mean...
まった。
did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
えあれ怖いんだけど の怖いんだけど。
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on.
あ、オートブレ2つあるよ。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
これはちゃんとリセットされたってことでいいのかしら。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first,
私行
just
き
to
たかった
admire
と
it.
こがあったんで、ちょっと行くか。あ、ほらほら、ちゃんと
The
完全に
lounge
リ
was
スタートされてる。
sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
そうで、あそこのここの奥入っちゃうと、そう多分なんかあれが始まってたから、ここで奥入って、
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite
で
door,
さっきこ
and
こ乗
got
っ
back
たん
on
だけ
track.
ど、乗らずに行ったらどうなるかっていうのを知りたい。あ、あ、ここ来ちゃうのか。なるほどね。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
ああ、そうなんのか。この画面こんななんかコンスタントに切り替わってたっけ？こんな切り替わってなかったよね、さっき。ねえ、なんか変わってるよ。会議室？
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
まあもう一回ちょっと上行くか。これ何これ。いやこっち行ってないわ。あ、そっかそっか、そういうことか。ちょっとこっち行きたいな。トイレ。特になんもなかった。こっちとか。あ、いたいた。あ、こっち行ってない。あ、エレベーターある。上行く？おお、行ったことない。こう。優雅な音楽が。ナレーター急にいなくなりましたね。長くない？長くかかるのかしら。結構上まで行ってる？もしかして屋上まで行く気？ なんかさ、おっさんのお花歌が聞こえるんだけど。もうちょっとこのまましとくか。何この時間。ちょっとなんか、たださ、なんかさ、こう何かを触るってなるとカーソルがさ、類点が反応しないとカーソル触れられないんだよね。ちょっとこれ押すか。ここなら反応するんだよ。自分で止める感じ？進んでねえじゃん。下行ってみる？これもしかしてさ、上にも下にも行かずずっとここにとどまってんじゃない？あいくそ。あれなんかカーソル合わせられるところ今あった気がする。あ、これ違うか。あ、なんでここカーソル合わせられるの？バグ？何だったんだ今の時間は。まあ行くか。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
なんかここら辺で変えたいですよね。
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
もうこうなるか。違う番号打ってみたら。
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well,
なんやねん、押しとらへんし、こっち。押さんくても開いた。284個押してないのに開きましたよ。どうしような。なんか違う道行きたいけどね。さっきもこっちですね。さっきこっちこのまま行っちゃったんですよね。もうこっちしか道ないよね。さっきね、1111押してもね、押したのにね、なんか開いたんですよ。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that
待っ
read
て
Mind Control
こっちあるじゃん。いいじゃん。私さっきこっち行ったけど、こっち行くか。
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
死を遂げるんだって。遂げてみようじゃないの。
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
怖いんだけど怖いんだけどうわー怖っ。何
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated, as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Nani?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Eh? 風景があ、スタンリーのパソコン。あ、なんか展示されてる？ゲームの展示会みたいな感じ。あった、2つのドア。すごい俯瞰で見れてる。おこんなんあったっけ？あ、クレジットだ。すごいなんか展示会みたいになってるよ。なんか私が知らないものもなんかいっぱいある感じする。まだ他のなんかエンディングもあるんじゃないかしらっていう。てかそもそもこれがなんか終わりなのかどうかわかりませんけど。 あ、エグジットあった。
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
オンオフ？あ、これ、
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
あ、また戻ってきた。
You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way
エスケープと終了してだって。エスケープとエスケープってどこだ？エスケープといやでもやめよう。だってそんなことしても。終わりましたこれだってエスケープと終了したらだってさ、ゲーム自体がシャットダウンされちゃうでしょこれ。あ、これはミュージアムエンドですね。だってすごいいろんなエンドがあるんだ。すごーい。ちょっと結構時間早いんですけど、ちょっと結構この短時間でいろんなエンド楽しめたので、ちょっと今日この辺で終わりにしようかなと思います。すごい、なんか結構不思議なゲームでした。あ、みーさんナイスポです。ありがとうございます。はーい。はい。初めて今回こちらのゲームをやったんですけれども、結構いろんなエンドを楽しめて、すごい新鮮なね、ゲームでした。はい。ねるさん、ありがとうございます。ましろさん、ナイスパです。とみさん、ナイスパです。ありがとうございます。はい。ということでですね、近々のご予定をちょっと軽く話して、締めたいと思います。結構意外とね、意外といい酔いっぷり。シンさんナイスパです。ありがとうございます。ルポンさんナイスパです。ありがとうございます。TH03 さんナイスパです。ありがとうございます。結局ケーキで私全然まともに食べれてなかったせっかく作ってきたのに、ちょっと帰ってゆっくり食べたいと思います。はい。ともさんナイスパです。ありがとうございます。まさひろさんナイスパです。ありがとうございます。はい。そんなこんなでですね。あ、血浴さんナイスパです。ありがとうございます。6月の10日、激ロック DJ パーティーございます。そして6月17日、アニデパ。こちらも DJ ライブがございまして、6月25日は ESP 大阪トークイベントがございますので、中高生の皆さん興味ある方ぜひお越しください。はい、ひとまず告知できるのはそんな感じかな。はい、またちょこちょこ今月中に告知できるものがありそうなんで、よかったらぜひ Twitter の方でチェックよろしくお願いします。はい、よしゅうさんナイスパーです。ありがとうございます。ソリッドプレスケンさんナイスパーです。ありがとうございます。はい。はい、ありがとうございます。はい。稲圭さんありがとうございます。ナイスパーです。みんなも結構酔っちゃいました？大丈夫ですか？私酔い止め飲んだけど、結構激しかった。いや、すごいね。ゲーム自体すごい楽しかったです。はーい。はい。というこ ことで、じゃあこの辺で今日締めたいと思います。皆さんありがとうございました。次回のリコンチはね、ちょっとまた何やるか考えようかなと思います。ということで、次回もお楽しみに。バイバーイ。